So, what is going on, guys? This is Ryan here.
And this is other Ryan here.
And today we once again have another interesting video for you all. Now, this one is a little bit different, and it's actually talking about some of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie tweets that have came from Gil Kenan.
Yeah, there has been quite a lot since we've done our last movie update, and today we're going to be discussing what we think these might represent.
Yes.
So before we actually start this video, we just want to announce something that we are basically thinking about making a weekly series on the movie updates for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, now it appears that Gil is actually quite active with tweeting things in relation to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, rather than making individual videos on the movie, we're thinking about wrapping up the week's lot of teaser images that Gil Kenan actually dishes out, doing an in-depth analysis and then providing you guys with a bulk of information in regards to it.
Definitely so.
Right, so we're going to be starting with the first teaser image, which is the most recent one, and it appears to be some kind of animatronic head, and oh boy, it looks really freaky to say the least.
Yeah, now this actually stars what appears to look like a very human-like kind of teeth.
Yes, but it's quite interesting because at the same time, when you look at these features, they do look very human-like.
Yeah.
But they also look fake.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the size of them is absolutely ginormous.
Yes.
I mean, loads of people are thinking that it'll be Springtrap, obviously, because it's human teeth. But surely if he wanted to represent Springtrap, he would actually put an actor inside of an animatronic suit rather than, you know, build fake-looking teeth, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And I think another thing we have to consider too is if we actually look towards the top of this image, we can see what appears to be two eyeballs. Now, it's unclear as to whether these are to a scale of a human or an animatronic, but either way, the eyeballs are literally a fraction of the size of this animatronic's teeth.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about this in realistic terms, that is not the case. However, we do know the Purple Man to have a really big smile, but I do think they're going to stick to realism with this and kind of portraying human characters to look very realistic rather than cartoony with, you know, unrealistic proportions.
Definitely so. I mean, well, I guess we just need to think, who is this animatronic? I mean, loads of people speculating to be Springtrap, but me personally, I have no idea, because I believe that if we look at all the animatronics' teeth, that is the original cast of Freddy Fazbear and his gang, we can see that they have the block teeth, just like humans, and they're very blunt as well. So he could easily be trying to create maybe this is the base before he sprays it a certain color or add certain features to it to make maybe a Freddy or a Bonnie or something like that.
I think those are the two most likely candidates for this, and I think another thing as well is the condition of the teeth. They look withered. The animatronic in general looks pretty damaged, to be fair, so it looks like they may be building possibly one of the withered animatronics. It could be possible we speculate that, but once again, as Ryan said, it's very unclear, but it looks to be either Freddy or Bonnie based on just the proportions of the face and just a few characteristics that the animatronics have in relation to this image, that's been posted. And I think the final thing as well we should note is the tweet that Gil Kenan put out in response to someone who asked a question in regards to these characters, or should I say rather the movie. He said that the characters will be based on Freddy Fazbear and Friends.
Yeah, see, I was just thinking then, I was about to bring it up, that basically he says that it's based around them, but he doesn't actually mention a time zone. I mean, he could base it on these, but the withered state of these animatronics maybe, who knows?
Yeah, which is interesting as well, because in 1987 we know these guys were withered too, weren't they?
Yeah.
So it gets more interesting, and I think moving on to the next teaser image will it'll almost kind of debunk maybe some ideas that people may be having, but also raise new points. So now we're looking at this Foxy teaser, and what we can see is what appears to be a signpost that says caution. The curtain will go up and down without warning.
Yeah, now as we know, the most distinct curtain we know of in Five Nights at Freddy's is Pirate's Cove, and basically if these curtains are actually functioning and working, that means that the animatronic Foxy is actually in working order, meaning that this must be before 1987, because we know he was out of order at this time.
Very interesting. And I think another point which actually backs us up again is we've got to think back to the actual games, guys, because who knows, they may be using these as a direct source of inspiration to directly link to the fans. In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, there was actually no Pirate's Cove to what we know as. There was a room, but there wasn't actually any. I think it was called Kids Cove, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And we actually just had the mangle in here, but there was no actual Pirate's Cove, and it leaves a lot of questions. I mean, we've also got to think towards another teaser that was released where we saw this text that said arcade with a very specific font, and it looked like it was hinting to a time era.
Yes, now if we actually look back through the arcade time zone, I guess you could say, we come across a arcade machine called Defender. Now if we look at the font for Defender, it is very, very similar to what we are seeing here, and Defender was actually released in 1980.
Which again backs up the whole concept of this might not be set in 1987, but perhaps just before, so maybe we'll be seeing this missing location that everyone has always been curious over, and we've never really had much of an insight into other than a few references from the phone unknown guy.
See, it just makes you think as well, because we know 1983 was Fredbear and Friends. What if he's just being very clever with his words and saying Freddy Fazbear and Friends? And what we're actually seeing is maybe 1983 when these guys were new and out the box kind of thing.
As you said, you know, we've had this Fredbear and Friends reference, and now we're getting this Freddy Fazbear and Friends reference from Gil Kenan.
Yeah.
And we know this guy to be working with Scott Cawthon on this. I mean, granted, Scott won't be monitoring all of his tweets, but we have to understand he must have a pretty in-depth knowledge over the whole story of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise and just how the story for the movie is going to go. I mean, Scott's not going to want to go too out of junction with the events that happen. He'll probably want to relate it to the games that have been released because the lore factor there is already deep enough.
Yeah, I hope that maybe this film will fill in a gap of this story, maybe of a sister location, because we don't actually know what happened at a sister location. Yes. So, yeah, it'd be very interesting to see where this movie's going to go and what's going to happen.
And going off of that as well, that would appeal to both fans of the game and newcomers because this sister location has been a mystery. We don't know much about it, we've speculated, but, you know, to newcomers as well, it will be a whole new experience and we'll almost be learning the same amount of information all at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
So there we have it, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this discussion, looking at some teaser images that Gil himself has actually posted over the last few weeks. Be sure to comment down below any of your thoughts on the topics discussed within this video.
And if you guys did enjoy this video, why not leave a like rating down below? And if you're new to our channel, why not subscribe for more interesting videos like this and also some other gameplay videos.
So thank you very much for watching the video, guys. We do hope you did enjoy, and we'll of course see you on the next one.
Goodbye, guys.
Want to see even more content from us?
Consider liking and subscribing to ensure you'll see all content in the foreseeable future.
And hey, why not check out our past 2 videos?